Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. We're on each and every week, and we try to bring to you information that will help you with decisions on whether you're going to buy or sell real estate here in the Valley right now in the summer. It is hot. Obviously, people out touring houses, looking around, are miserable because it is so hot. However, the market is terrific. I want to go through a few of the details of the market. We had about 4,700 homes sold in June this year, and that compares a little bit less than last year. And this is, of course, due to the fact that there just aren't enough houses on the market. We talked in earlier shows and in past shows about how the shrinking inventory is making prices rise. Another reason why the prices are rising is that we're just not building enough houses here in the Valley. Although we have a couple of projects that are coming on board. There's a 424-unit project that was just approved in, I believe, Southwest, and we also have some additional units being built. Obviously, downtown has done a tremendous job in renovation and what they're doing in the redevelopment of the downtown area. But if Las Vegas keeps growing the way it is growing, the housing crisis is acute, obviously, now and will get worse. So what we're trying to do is figure out the best way here in the real estate community and in the real estate industry to supply the houses that we need, the rental housing we need, and to continue to try to keep prices where those that can afford it will be able to either rent or buy. There is an affordability issue. There was a recent study done which stated that if you were a minimum wage worker, and how many workers here in Las Vegas are minimum wage? I know that most of us are not, but there are quite a few people who are entry-level position who need to rent, who cannot afford it. Recent study, as I said, had it that 73 hours of working for a minimum wage worker would be needed in order to pay for a one-bedroom apartment. Now that seems ridiculous, as we all know that the one-bedroom apartments in Las Vegas can go anywhere from $550 up to $750. So if you're working 80 hours a week just to afford your rent, that's not going to be able to work. Locally, we're going to have elections soon. What does this mean? It means that, do you really care whether your local representative who gets either elected to the state, the county, or the federal branches of government, in whatever capacity that is, do we really care how they feel about President Putin of Russia? The answer to me is no. What we care about is housing affordability, schools, what's happening to protect our kids on the street. As we all know and we read every day, and it's all across the world, we have shootings, mass shootings. We have crime that seems to be going up, even though statistics say completely different. We have concerns here locally for our elections. My own particular slant is on education. I think that Nevada, Clark County specifically, with 328 different schools in the 10th largest school district in the country, yeah, we have issues here that our test scores are low, that our AP students don't seem to be measuring up. Later on in the show, I want to get into detail about that with our panel in talking about how the new incoming school superintendent can change these things. It's interesting to note that the outgoing school superintendent and the incoming school superintendent, Mr. Lauro, actually Dr. Lauro, I like the guy. I went and saw a lot of what he's done online to the school system, to the Clark County School District website, and I saw his particular video. I liked him. He seemed like a concerned guy, a guy that was an immigrant that came here, somebody who was interested in both education for himself as a way to get up and get out. That's the type of forward thinking I think we need, but the specific nature of what to do is always at the issue. It's always the nub. It always comes down to money per student. I'm not sure that's the answer, but it might be the answer, and we want to get into that later in the show. Anyway, I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification in an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Ruthless Cowboys, keeping the American dream alive and creating jobs one t-shirt at a time. From fabric to design, Ruthless Cowboys makes 100% American-made apparel that hardworking Americans are proud to wear. At RuthlessCowboys.com, you can shop for shirts and accessories for the cowboy or cowgirl in your life. Head to RuthlessCowboys.com, check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching Ruthless Cowboys. Ruthless Cowboys, we're all about family, country, and keeping it all American. RuthlessCowboys.com.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry, as well as the host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. And we're here each and every week. Thanks for tuning in. We try to combine both real estate knowledge with some questions about what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening in your life. You may need a good realtor, maybe a good loan officer. There are certainly 100 different questions you need answered before you either buy or sell real estate. And we try to provide those answers for you each and every week. The topics we bring out affect prices here in the Valley. And believe me, the heat is affecting some of the decisions being made out there as I see people buying and selling properties that maybe they shouldn't get into or maybe they should have gotten into. And if you're one of those people, relax, sit back, have a Coca-Cola, and watch us as we discuss what's going on here in the Valley in the real estate market. With me today, once again, are two terrific guests, both professionals in the industry. Jean T. Chun, who is a realtor for Realty One. Hi.
Hello.
Jeff. How are you?
Good.
Good. Thank you very much. And Charles Giscombe, who is a loan officer and qualified employee, as well as the real estate manager here in Las Vegas for Malibu Funding, Inc. Charles?
Jeff, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for coming on the show. We're in midsummer. It's really hot, and people are trying to get out there and buy and sell real estate. It's difficult when, I know in certain times of the year, whether it's in the rainy season, whether it's in the fire season, or whether it's now in the heat, that the market tends to wobble a little bit, but not this year. Prices are really up. They're up 13% year over year. And what we've got is a shrinking inventory. Indeed. And we've got prices rising, and the affordability we've talked about in the past. We've talked about the ability of buyers and sellers and what their expectations are. Give me your idea of what's happening now in the Valley.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the sellers for leaving their AC on, for these showings. Thank you very much. Yes, please. I mean, it's so hot.
Yes, it is.
It's an ongoing uptrend, right. And it has been for the last few years. And so we're still seeing that. We're still seeing the increase. Not crazy, but and supply, like you said, is dwindling as well. So we're in kind of like the same boat, same challenge.
Right, and Chuck, in terms of the availability of funds, there is a lot of money, but is the difficulty of getting approved any different now than it was in the past?
No, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of money. They're loosening up some money, and the programs that we have that we didn't have before, honestly, are coming back. And I shouldn't say we have before, because before the crash, there was stated income loans, there were different kind of loans, but now they're called non-qualified mortgages. It allows individuals who don't have the structured paperwork as a normal loan structure, they can get in via bank statements, doing loans without tax returns, no 4506Ts, just beautiful situations for individuals who are entrepreneurs in their business, make a lot of money, but don't show it on paper. It's allowing them to get to this money and being able to utilize that. And I'll tell you, we're doing a lot of those loans, Jeff, and we're being very successful. I like to say Malibu, we focus on those loans a lot because there's a lot more individuals that make money and they don't necessarily make them on a W-2 or a paycheck stub.
Who's harder to deal with? Somebody who's got a lot of money or somebody who doesn't have any money?
I'll tell you right now, they're all can be easy and all can be difficult.
Very diplomatic.
Absolutely.
That's a good answer.
You know, someone buying a $100,000 house and someone buying a $2 million house have the same issues and same problems. You know, obviously with paperwork, you know, if you make $100,000 and you don't have your tax returns, you know, that person making $2 million doesn't have your tax returns, it's the same kind of loan. You know, you have to put the same attention to detail into that individual, to that client. You know, at Malibu, one of the most important things that I figured when I came here was Jeff and Malibu, the company, always cater to every individual as though they're the most important individual that we're dealing with. So we treat them all the same, all fair, try to be professional, and at the same time, we always like to teach our clients as we go along the process.
Good.
For sure.
Right. What do you think?
Excellent. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that, you know, you guys do that.
In terms of working with a difficult buyer or a difficult seller versus an easy, you know what I mean? I mean, usually if you're a high-end seller, you're expecting more. And that's the way I feel about it because I only deal with people that are high-end normally.
Right.
But a lot of the low-end people can be demanding too.
Absolutely.
So what do you think?
I think it just depends on the type of person or people that you deal with, right? And you know, you're right. Each spectrum can have difficulty and can have easy people. I don't know. For the most part, working with buyers and sellers, there's a range, you know. And I've been lucky enough, personally, to actually work with just easygoing clients for the most part. In my whole history of real estate, I've only had like maybe one or two like real difficult people, and they were the ones that had a lot of money. It's like, hey, you know, I have $1 million here, so you know, I need you to do this, this, and this. But yeah, for the most part, I've been very lucky.
And I think that's a lot to do with the personality of the person working. I mean, you're a nice person. Chuck, you're a nice person. Dealing with people on that level, personable, and also, you know, just being a genuine human being really helps calm people down because I think they're nervous when they get in the process anyway. As
an agent, you know, you have to kind of be everything to a client, you know, a psychiatrist, you know, a mother, a sister, you know, an agent, a best friend at times. So you have to be able to be versatile and kind of change into those roles depending on what's going on with your client. So
I think so too. Yeah, I do too. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about millennials. Why? Because they're the great untapped, right? I mean, we're talking about the largest block of buyers and sellers currently in the marketplace are millennials, and it's only set to grow over the next 10 to 15 years. So I read an article and I thought I'd bring it in and talk about it a little bit. It said some of the hurdles about talking and working with millennials are what? And one of the issues they said was they don't want to settle down and they don't want to be pushed out. How do we assist in that in terms of being professionals? Obviously, if somebody is testing the waters, a quick story, friend from St. Louis just got married, 27, 28 years old, right? And they never had a credit card, they didn't have any credit at all. Starting the process of trying to buy a home starts where? With the decision to do it, or do you have to have certain things in place before you can even begin?
I mean, I think from a mortgage standpoint, obviously there's things that you have to have in place ahead of time. But I always like to say, sometimes we have to teach them and groom them. Jeff, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to need some form of credit. Obviously, there's different programs that will allow you to use alternative trade lines and different things. But for the most part, you're going to have to at least have 2 to 3 minimal trade lines. So right there, in order to get that person qualified, we have to set them up there. I like to pride myself in the fact that I'll have a consultation with the client ahead of time, find out where they sit, and then I'll like to base a program based upon that, because there's all type of programs for these individuals. And the beautiful thing you said about millennials, like, hey, listen, they're not trying to settle down. So there's programs that can say, hey, listen, you can take advantage of this. You don't have to be in there long term. You can be in there 3 years, 5 years, because it's not a settle down situation. And then you move on. It allows them to get in the door, see the process, and then you can nurture that individual on to be a long life client that you have, and I like to call it earning while we learn. Earn and learn.
So educate them, I guess, to get into investment early, and that's what I'm doing with the millennials around me. Now, millennials, I wasn't actually sure what millennials were or what age group it was. So it was from 1981, born from 1981 to 1995.
That's not. I thought it was 85 to 2000, but that's the range. That's those are the years.
No, starting 2000, it's Generation X.
X and then Y and then.
Or is it Y? I'm sorry.
I don't know, one and then another one and another one. So yeah, exactly right.
But you're right. They don't want to settle down. They're not having kids, early. Anymore.
If at all.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I'm educating the millennials around me just by example. So they, the many that I have around me, they're like, oh God, I really look up to you. So I'm like, well, this is what you should do. So I'm educating them to, you know what, if you can work your buns off, which you are working, save your money and try to maybe buy something as an investment.
Correct.
That's a great idea too. Yes. Get them off the idea that it's somehow a chain around their neck.
Correct.
Use it as something by which they can make income.
Exactly.
Some kind of passive income either now or in the future, because everybody's going to get older and everybody's going to retire and you need passive income. But that's a great point. Okay, here's another one that they brought up. The higher student loan debt is tightening millennials' wallets, meaning that getting out of college, you got a couple $100,000 in debt, last thing you want to do is get in the housing market.
True.
So what do you tell these kind of people who are in that situation?
I mean, that is tough, because you're right. Their debt is definitely different from our generation.
Right. I got out of college. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it was $10,000.
Is there a lot of grants and stuff though nowadays too, or is there?
Well, I think for in the loan. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they calculate the way that student debt is used in a loan calculation differently? And didn't they just change that?
It's calculated differently. It doesn't have as much bearing on the profile. And obviously there's certain deferment situations.
Right.
You do have to allot for an amount, which is a payment, almost like a credit card liability situation that you can. So you shouldn't be so scared away by the student loan situation as long as you stay on top of it and defer it. All right, and then actually it will go into the calculation, but like you said, Jeff, it's not weighed as heavy.
Right, exactly. I think,
good to know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what happens is that when you're thinking about it as a kid and you're thinking, oh, I got $200,000 debt, I don't want to take on a $200,000 mortgage, now I'm $400,000 in debt.
Right.
Instead of looking at it like, no, they look at the student debt as a, like Chuck was saying, a credit card debt.
Yes.
So if you make an agreement to pay a certain amount, it may not be the amount that you owe, but you can make a different agreement. There's also different companies out there to refinance your student debt.
Absolutely.
I know that company Sophie's out there.
So,
there's a bunch of them out there that
Correct.
can refi your debt in order to make you think, oh, okay, I can't afford this. And I think that's one of the key issues.
Right, you might have a $200,000, like Jeff said, a $200 student loan, but at the end of the day, what if your payment's only $700? So now, on a monthly basis, you have that big lump out there, but you look at that as a credit card, and you just basically do your debt to income ratio based on that. There's many different ways about that. The one thing I can say about millennials, Jeff, is that, and dealing with them and purchasing too, also I wanted to go back to that last point is, when I'm getting information from them, they're very fast. They have everything that they need on their phones, on their smartphones, on their iPads. So as opposed to digging through different documentation, different things, they're like, sure, I'll send it over to you. And Jeff, it's at their access and at their whim, so they get it over to you really fast. So that's one of the pros in dealing with them as well.
Okay, excellent. All right, another one that they were talking about is obviously the prices, and we've talked about it many times. Prices are huge, so they feel like they can't afford it. And obviously this is about educating them, showing them properties that they might be able to afford, figuring out ways that are creative to afford. And
exactly.
Right, exactly. Okay, and the last one here is the racial divide remains a far-reaching challenge. I'll just read this a little bit. I hope you don't mind. I hope the audience doesn't mind listening to it. Millennials are the most racially and ethnically diverse generation. The increasing share of minority members and the added home buying challenges they experience is lowering millennial homeownership rates on average, cites the report. What do you say to that?
It's the temperature and the climate of what we're dealing with right now, Jeff.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
More diversity, right?
Well, it's saying because of the diversity, you're having less home ownership. It's not because of any other reason. They're talking about the ethnic and cultural divide is really keeping certain segments of the population from buying, especially in the millennial area.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with right now, Jeff. It is doing that. It's causing that issue, and it's becoming more and more an issue.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's just going to continue.
Yeah, well,
grow,
okay,
right?
so we're
As far as that
professionals, right? We
aspect,
solve
yeah.
problems. So what is the solution when you deal with, I mean, I deal with all kinds of people in my business, ethnically, culturally, it doesn't really matter to me.
Right.
I just, have a way by which I act towards people, and so therefore it's inclusive, and I'm myself with them, and that seems to break down barriers with both obviously the millennial or the person I'm dealing with, but also the person I'm trying to make a deal with. Whether it's a seller or whether it's a buyer, it's being able to communicate as professionals the desire of one person wanting to buy something from another person and leaving the rest of it at the door. And I think when you get that particular mindset, it really helps the overall community because it can be very easily devolved into a very tribal warfare out there, especially when you're looking at buying and selling property. I mean, it's very competitive out there.
Well, Vegas is tough because at the end of the day, I think that people are just trying to get into something, Jeff, because of the way the market is and the prices are moving up and going up so high, so that regardless, whatever racial, cultural, ethnic background, ethnicity you come from, people just trying to get in. But I do agree that is a difficult situation and an interesting point to look at.
Well, they're identifying it as a millennial issue more than any other generation.
That's amazing.
Which, to me, I mean, obviously bespeaks to the problem of getting millennials excited about buying real estate.
I'm kind of surprised because millennials have access to information, more so than all the other generations. I mean, it's at their fingertip. So at first I was thinking, well, maybe it's giving them the education or the information, but it's not that because they have access to that already. So they know exactly. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just an upbringing, like our parents and stuff was more like, hey, for me at least, hey, we came to this country. So I'm kind of like not even the first generation, right? So it was instilled in me like, hey, this is what we need to do. We need to succeed. We need to buy. We need to do this.
Exactly.
So I don't know, maybe for the millennials, they have more of a leisurely kind of attitude, like, well, mom and dad will always be here and they're already set up already, so maybe I don't have to do all these things or work that hard.
Is there an answer to this without being political?
No, there isn't.
Okay, and that's what my point was, in that politics plays a major role in in this decision, and it's unfortunate because our millennials, we would think, would be the individuals who would have the most outwardly thinking, the most acceptance upon others, but it's not going that route, Jeff. It's going a different route. It's become more diversive, and I think that one of the sayings is attitude reflects leadership. Right? So at the end of the day, if the top of the food chain is causing dissension and divisiveness, then we can't expect our kids and the next generations to be any different. That's being taught. Unfortunately, that's the way I feel about it.
Right. No, I understand that. To me, the answer to this is just the continual push against there's a reason that the realtor symbol for fair housing is a house with an equal sign on it. I mean, the idea that we are blind to differences, we're only looking at the opportunities to try to get a buyer and a seller together to agree upon buying and selling a house. And to me, that's our job. And to continue to do that as professionals, look, there's 1 million of us in the country who are realtors. There's probably 1 million of us who are loan officers. We're all fiduciaries. We have to do right by the client. Only then can you overcome obstacles, whether it's racial or whether it's cultural or whether it's a divide of generations, ageism, whatever it is. It's about the professional being able to wend their way through and find a solution for the buyer and seller. To me, that's the only way that it's going to happen. And if the desire is there, I think I bring people to the show who have that desire. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys coming on the show to talk about it because it's not easy. Let's shift gears just a little bit, talk a little bit about the tariffs that have hit Las Vegas. In terms of the building industry, the materials are expensive. They're obviously on the tariff list from China, a tit for tat in terms of what the U.S. is providing or putting on tariffs to Chinese products and to Canadian products and to Mexican products. And all these countries supply building materials and driving up the cost here in town.
Mainly it's on wood and metal, right? So yeah, the metal part, I guess, what I read was it doesn't make that huge of a difference because it's only like about 5% the metal, because you only use a certain amount of metal, right?
In the house,
in the
right.
house.
Right.
But the wood tariff, that's substantial because you use wood for everything. Yeah, so.
Yeah, commercial is metal and residential is wood, right? Right. Commercial is mostly the metal.
Correct. Yeah. Unless you're dealing with a huge high-end situation, which obviously needs that kind of framing inside for the metal, but absolutely it's majority wood.
Well, definitely it will affect the market as well. I mean, you know, prices will, yeah,
right, and artificially. I mean, what we had was the president was helping out farmers when they were hit, obviously, by, I think it was soybean tariffs that were placed on by China, which really drove the market down. Almonds too.
Yes.
So what he proposed was an 18 or 13 or 14 billion dollar bailout of those particular farmers. But how are you going to bail out the builders like KB Homes and Pulte and Shea and many different home builders? They're not going to get a bailout, so it's going to pass directly on to the buyers.
Absolutely.
It has to.
Wow.
It has to, right? So I don't know what we have in terms of solution to that, but that is one of the issues that we're dealing with. Thank you for coming on the show. Both of you, really great job, and I appreciate it once again.
Thanks for having us, Jeff.
And I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We'll see you next time.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Ruthless Cowboys, keeping the American dream alive and creating jobs one t-shirt at a time. From fabric to design, Ruthless Cowboys makes 100% American-made apparel that hardworking Americans are proud to wear. At RuthlessCowboys.com, you can shop for shirts and accessories for the cowboy or cowgirl in your life. Head to RuthlessCowboys.com, check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching Ruthless Cowboys. Ruthless Cowboys, we're all about family, country, and keeping it all American. RuthlessCowboys.com.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.